Hi, and welcome to the 13th episode of Matka Chai. And today we have with us Kedar Nayak. Welcome, Kedar. Welcome, Viku. Both names you have, so we will call both of you to be part of the show. Yeah,
So thank you, Prithvi, Pittu, both of you. It's a privilege. It's a privilege to be here. Really, thank you so much to the Finer Side for doing this wonderful job of hosting these events, and I'm very privileged to be here. And it's nice to talk to you like this through a medium which didn't exist when we guys got to know each other. Really.
yeah. For us, it was Sanjay Sigana and one corner, one chai angdi. You know,
Absolutely, absolutely.
I think Bantwal's was the shop that we used to head
Phone
out to, and
phone
yeah, and
time only. Some of
phone
you
ಇರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ, yeah. I don't know how magically we used to coordinate a lot time.
I think previous day we would fix up and that was it. We would just land up the next day at the pre-ordained time. But
Yeah,
we didn't need reminders, so alarm ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. We would be there.
yeah, nothing. So,
Yeah,
but nowadays it's changed so much. I'm sure that you and me come from a space where we have written chits to our girlfriends and passed it on in class. Now,
we played dangerous waters. Dangerous waters.
what I meant is our communication was so nice and personal.
Yeah, it was.
No, nowadays it's one WhatsApp message of "I love you" ends the whole story, whether you love or don't love. No?
Yeah, I guess it's inevitable. Allah. I think it's progress. It's the way the current generation it works for them. They can't relate to what we did. We can't relate to what they're doing. So it's fine. They have their space. We have our memories. The good thing is
Absolutely.
that the good
No.
thing we need to remember is that we are in their space. They can never be in our space because our space is gone. It's over.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not complaining. I'm only doing nostalgia.
Totally.
Yeah,
Sorry,
and
not chai, but mug and coffee. Cheers.
yeah, I've got matka chai. So, the final side. The name was given by you at 2 a.m. at one of those days, and
Yeah.
it's so nice for today when whoever comes there says that wow, what a wonderful name. And I keep repeating saying that this happened, this is how it happened, this is how we got the name. So tell us a little about how you got this name. I know
I
I'm going somewhere else, but yeah, I would like to
No,
know.
it's interesting. I think you remember our drive down to Madikeri. We were speaking about you were speaking to me about
Yeah,
converting the academy to a place for the arts and things like that. And I think through that long conversation that we had while driving down, somewhere it struck to me like this whole place is actually about the other side of things. That's how that thought came to my mind, the other side. But Andre, the other side has got different connotations to it. It's not necessarily all positive. And
yeah,
but that idea kept kind of going around in my head, and suddenly it just came to me that these are all whatever we're planning to do there. It's all about the arts, and if you ask me, arts are the true finer side of things.
yeah.
It's not fine dining, fine vacations, fine upholstery or tapestry at home, or for me that is not finer side of life. For me,
Mm.
finer side of life is all these fine aspects, which are the performing arts, theater, music, where what is not taught in conventional schools or what is not kind of how would I put it, addressed enough in conventional schools is what actually needs to be that, which builds character, which completes an individual. So to me, those are the finer things in life. So then the other side, finer things became the finer side. Instead of going with one name, one word, one kind of a word for a venue, let's give a name to the concept tara, so that's, I guess, I can't say that okay it flashed to me like that, but I thought a lot about it, and it was a result of the multiple conversations that you and I had over time,
Yeah,
especially when we
yeah,
were kind of ideating and conceptualizing what should be happening over there.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think it's a result of that, and I'm glad it's people like it. It also has uh, a message for people. That there are other things to life other than the hard things. There are the finer things in life like this also. They're important. Yes.
No, absolutely. I think I'm very thankful to. I don't think I have to be thankful because for me, the finer side, you're all. It's part of you also. And yes, uh, for a person now, we have a lot of people. Last 5 weeks, we have vaccination drives going on. From
Yes.
November to February, March, we had events going on. We had a RD Burman night. A lot of things that we did. So the one good thing that everybody who has come, whether it's from North Bangalore, East Bangalore, there are people who have traveled across Bangalore to come to the South Bangalore venue in pandemic with all the social distancing. We're
I
thankful to every single person.
If
Yeah,
you ask me, I think somewhere in 2013 is when you started building. 2012 is when you
yeah,
started building the place, actually bringing it to life.
correct, correct.
I think all the way it was being built for this and not for the academy. I'm sorry to
Academic
say,
school, yeah.
but the way
No,
it's the way it's turned out, it's just perfect for what you're planning. And thankfully, I think the metro line is complete. That section is complete.
yes,
Metro
yes,
access is good. It's a nice locality. The campus itself is so serene. It's so beautiful. That half an acre of land. Once you get in there, you kind of forget everything else. It's just so very nice. I think it's a great place, and it's fantastic that you kept those events going, and
yeah.
the kind of work that you're doing in terms of vaccination drives and stuff like that is it's really commendable. Great job.
Yeah, so uh, about the finance side, we will come to it later.
Sure.
Let's talk about you. You've done this journey from one side to typically what happens to the dreamer who gets into the job, the work, building up, and then get back to the dream again, which is what you have done. I have done. Many of us have done. I'm sure many friends of ours have
Yeah.
gone through this
Sure.
journey. So you're earlier, I know the journey, but let's, for the sake of all our listeners, your music I know started somewhere in Cochin.
Correct.
Yeah. So can you tell that journey which went up to that Warden? Warden. Yeah.
Warden. Yeah, that was strangely enough my musical journey started with a broken hand. I was probably must have been around 1977 or 78, when this happened. And you rightly said, yes, my growing up years were in a lovely little colony in Kerala called Cochin Refineries Colony. I did my schooling till seventh over there, and then we came to Bangalore. So it was probably around that time, 77, 78 time, when we used to play a lot outdoors, and for some reason we were playing rugby, if I remember correctly, and everybody fell on top of me. I was not, as part of the game. I was not a very strong built child or anything like that. So my hand snapped, and I was in a cast. And I believe it was a weekend. I was at home. I was going to school, of course, but my arm was in a cast, and it was a rainy weekend. It used to rain a lot in Kochi. It still does, I believe. And uh, it's as much as a cliche, as it sounds. No internet, no phone, all that, no TV. Radio was there, of course. Radio would be playing, and those days it was, a lot of music, Radio Ceylon, and so
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
was in the air. Your Binaka Geet Mala, Fauji Bhaiyon Ki Farmaish, and that sort of thing. Lovely program. So music was in the air, and my sisters, both of them, both of them. Both of them were learning music. They were older than me. Both of them were learning to play the guitar. So there were a couple of guitars lying at home. And for lack of better things to do, I picked up one guitar and I tried to play something. I don't remember what it was now. And that's where it started. And when I couldn't play the guitar holding it normally like this. I had to put it on my lap, and I had to play it like the lap steel is played, or the Hawaiian guitar, as people call it.
Yeah.
I had to use one finger to press like this and then try and play a note. My left arm was in a cast, and
Okay.
that's where it started. And once I was able to play one note, I can still remember that moment when that note came out clear. I said, okay, wow, this is great. There are a lot of my friends in our colony. A lot of people used to play the guitar, and music was very much part of the scene there in the colony. So I said, okay, now I belong to that music playing club after playing one note. And then from there it started off actually. And Rudolph David, Rudy. Rudy taught me my first few chords, if I remember right, all those years back. And uh, I think the first song that I played live on stage was probably in my sixth standard, if I'm not mistaken, was Chalte Chalte.
Yeah, I know.
A very
Yeah.
dear friend of mine who's we're still in touch. He sang and I played the guitar, and that I remember was my first public performance in one of the school school occasions, and that's where it started off. And
Yeah.
after I came to Bangalore, I continued my schooling in Aurobindo Memorial School, 8th, 9th, and 10th. I used to play a little bit Hotel California, country roads, the usual songs of that time, just strumming the guitar. And then we met in Vijay Junior College, and
Yeah.
we had a few musical adventures. If you remember, we had put a little
Lots
band
of them.
together. Uh,
I think it was, if I'm not wrong, Christ College. And I
Christ
did
College, I didn't come. I did play for the Christ College.
you were not there for
No,
Christ
I was
College. Yeah.
chicken. I didn't have the
Uh,
guts to go and stand on the Christ College stage and play what I was playing at that time. I couldn't gather up the courage. But the rest of
Footloose. Footloose.
yeah, I didn't come. No, not me. Yeah, but yeah, we had some fun then. We had a few guys. I think Rajesh, myself, you, Vishwa, a few of us we used to fool around and play some music. Yeah, but the actual journey started when I moved from Vijaya to RV College of Engineering.
Yeah.
And in the first year of engineering, when I joined engineering, the RV band was really, really good. I mean, they were top notch. They were playing some fantastic music. They were, doing great shows at the inter college fests and stuff like that. And I used to look up to them, and I wanted to play in that band. And I remember this. I don't know if you know the story. Maybe you know it. My I think college fees, first year college fees. I went and
Panache.
no, Panache was in the second year in 1988. In
Okay.
87 is when I joined. And
Okay.
within the first few months of college, I was enamored with a
And
college
yeah.
band.
Yeah.
Yes, and they had their practice room just as you enter the gate. On the left, they had a lovely practice room, small
Yeah.
place,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
all these senior guys, the third year, second year, fourth year guys, all thug looking guys, thug looking, meaning they look really senior. But come to think of it, they were in the early 20s.
Pranab Mukherjee's one name I can't forget because of the size.
Yeah, Pranab Mukherjee came in later.
Yeah.
But these guys, I saw them play and I said, "Wow! I mean, this is a band, and this is a band I want to play in." So after I think 3 or 4 months down the line, the college fees were due, the second installment of the college fees, uh, and Dad gave me the cash, and I went straight to Reynolds and bought my first guitar, electric guitar. Uh, and and I went. Afterwards, my dad asked, "What did you do as a receipt?" I said, "Actually, I bought a guitar." But my dad. He was the coolest.
Uh,
He just laughed. He said, "If you wanted to buy a guitar, you could have told me. You didn't have to do all this nonsense." But the funny part is, I couldn't get into the band because they already had guitarists. They didn't have a need for a guitarist. So through my entire first year, I was just fooling around, just playing, hanging around these guys and trying to edge my way into the band. There was no way. Second year is when a couple of guys passed out. They completed engineering and went, and one of them was a bass player. And the
okay.
college had a bass guitar. They had a bass, electric bass was there, but there was nobody to play it. And none of the other guitar guys wanted to play the bass. I said, okay, here's my chance. Though I had bought myself a regular 6-string electric guitar, I said, I'll, I'll pick up the bass if I need to. It's got 2 strings lesser and the strings are fatter. I don't have to play chords. I can play one note at a time. So I just
Uh,
kind of told myself all these things. And I got into the band and we did a few shows and the band was good. I think you remember Panache.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
it was one of the biggest festivals of that year, all over, if you ask me. There was some 25, 30 bands that played through the final day, the finale. And RV band was right in the middle. and we played a really nice selection of songs, and it was great. That's when I fell in love with the bass, and from there on, you remember Deepak Keshavan. Deepak Keshavan and
Yeah,
I were,
yeah.
were buddies. Deepak didn't play for the Western music band in RV because we already had a fantastic drummer, Korean. But DK was playing for the Indian music, and I was playing the rhythm guitar for the Indian
Indian
band.
music. Yeah,
So the DK and I became close, and then outside of college, we formed our bands, Lazy and Aftermath, and things like that. And eventually, I got through college, and by the time I got out of college and I was playing with DK's bands, I think I was we were not doing much. I don't want to get into the negative aspects of those things there, but there were things happening around music which were not kind of gelling with me. So I gave it all up. I said, this is not for me. Let me just try and get myself into a career and do whatever everybody else is doing. So I just gave away my guitars and said, okay, I'm done with music. That's when I got a call from, Srikanth Nayak. I think you know Srikanth.
yeah.
Srikanth was the manager of a band which Roberto Narayan was putting together. So
I think
Srikanth,
Roberto was one of the top names at that time in
oh yeah,
South
Roberto
India.
was
I
huge
mean,
at that
even
time.
now, not that he's not there now.
Even now,
Even now,
even now,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
I'm privileged that he's one of my closest friends now, and we've been a lot in touch through the pandemic. I mean, talking to him has been very helpful. We have long conversations every now and then, and it's great. But at that point of time, for us, we were guys who used to stand off stage in the Christ College campus and look at these giants play. The Christ College band was the band. They were simply phenomenal. And Roberto was a spectacle, not just
Yeah.
his skit, his style of playing, the aggression. It was just amazing.
Was that
So
the same band with Dr. Rio and
that was
few others?
Millennium. That was
Okay, that's
Millennium.
Millennium. That's
That,
Millennium. Yeah,
that was and Dr. Rio and all those guys were from MS Ramaya Medical College.
correct. MS Ramaya.
They were
Correct.
all doctors. They were all, and we were all engineers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so MS Ramaya they were the heavy metal boys. The RV boys were more rock and roll and blues rock and pop rock and that kind of space.
Okay.
So then I got my call from Srikanth, who calls me, speaks to me for 20 minutes and says that Roberto Narayan is putting this band together and we'd like you to audition for the bass player. I said, wow, this is amazing. And I'd given away everything then. I didn't even have a guitar. So I said, I don't have anything. And I've not been playing for more than a year. He said, never mind, you come over, we'll figure something out. And after that conversation, he tells me, incidentally, I'm your, I think I'm your nephew. I said, okay, wonderful. Let's figure that out when we meet. So that's another story. But nevertheless, I landed up at Roberto's place, and that was a god awful audition. I remember that. I don't know how they even considered me for the band after that, because I was auditioning to be a bass player, and I'm playing on an electric guitar, 6-string electric guitar, some rubbish which I didn't practice, nothing. I played all nonsense, I remember. But I think it's just that Rob and I kind of hit it off. I think maybe I can't think of any other reason. I guess he just liked me. That's why he said, okay. It's certainly not for my style of bass playing or anything like that. But that's when the Warden story happened. And that was the pinnacle for me. I'd done a lot of gigs with Aftermath and several other bands which had different names. Of course, I played a lot with Jaggi as well. I must mention Jaggi.
Yeah, Jackie, yeah. So
Yeah, Jaggi.
we'll just go to that, and we would like to show all our viewers small gist. I'm not going to play the whole thing. This is
Okay.
a performance for Warden.
Okay.
So that must be you.
Yeah. I must tell you something about this video before you ask me a question.
Yeah, please.
This video I think was recorded by Rope's dad, or maybe his dad looked after the recording of these, our shows, live shows, and we had never seen ourselves play live at that time. Even after the band kind of wound up, we had never seen ourselves play. So this video was actually me shooting us watching the video on Rope's TV from an old VCR, video cartridge.
Yeah.
And we were seeing ourselves live probably after 27 years or something like that, 27, 28 years. ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. And only four of us were there. Our fifth band member, Reno, was still in the US, so he couldn't make it. So this was a couple of years ago. We are seeing ourselves for the first time.
Amazing. I want to ask all our listeners, the people who are watching, can you guess where those shirts were bought? There's those check shirts that you could see. Can you guess where it was bought? Because I remember all of us used to go and shop and.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We'll wait for that. But while we were talking about RVC, Warden, and things like that, we have a very good dear friend I want to add here. I'm sure that if you see him, you'll fall off the chair. Just hang on. He's fallen off the chair.
Oh my goodness.
Looks like, there he is.
How are you?
Oh man.
How are you, Viku?
Look at you, man. Again, a bit of. This is one thing who doesn't age. He's frozen in time. He looks the same. Like he still look.
To all our friends here, that is Vivekananda alias Boda, and he was the only person who used to control RVC the way he wanted to. So, Vivek, thanks for joining in all the way from US. I think you're now part of some police department there, no? What do you do?
Well, I know I used to be now with the Justice Department. I work in the government field for the last 20 years. I've been around the block. I used to work for law enforcement in Chicago. I worked for Chicago Police, Illinois State Police, and then I even worked for corrections. I was the Chief Information Officer in Illinois Department of Corrections. So now I'm on the judicial side. I'm understanding it. I work for the state's attorney, the public defender, on the county side. So I'm now in the court side, understanding the whole process.
Yeah. Vivek, stop it.
squat about what we did in college, Vivek. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing what
Oh,
you're
I
doing.
talk about. I mean,
I was about to say that the guy who needed the highest amount of corrections is in charge of corrections.
No, man. I think we had some fantastic times.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and Vivek and I, especially
sure.
Vivek and
We have done a
So,
I.
Vivek, could you quickly want to narrate or remember
yeah,
something from the music scene? Warden and music scene. First one,
are you
Jagdal
asking?
Nintko, camera na Mukakitko.
So,
Same,
so
na?
I think
Yes,
more than music, Vivek and I were
no, I
more
mean,
serious for our rallying.
yeah, yeah. Rallying was part, that is the next topic that we will get into.
Oh,
But
okay.
Vivek, if you can pause somewhere,
yeah,
stand
yeah. So,
and hold the phone and unmute yourself quickly because time is running out. Unmute, unmute. ಏನೋ ಮಾಡೋದು ಇವನ್ಗೆ
We seem to have better network here in India than he has in the US. So
Yeah,
kudos to
yeah.
us.
Okay, so I'm going to pull him out. Let's see if we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
bring him
sure.
back later.
Yeah.
Yeah, so music and engineering, yes, of course, going into uh, the next part is your rallying. Rallying has been a very crucial part for your life, as far as what I know.
Yeah.
How did you get influenced? So was it somebody from the family?
Uh, yes and no. I don't think it was anybody from the family per se. I can't clearly remember how I got into it. I think the first event that I entered was probably when we were in second PUC, and there was we had a kinetic spark. I think you remember that.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a very funny vehicle. It was not a moped. It was not a scooter. It was some kind of in between kind of a
yes.
vehicle with,
With a red color, it was a red color also.
pink color. It was a
Pink color.
color. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
pink color. Yeah,
You got to get that color right. It was pink.
yeah.
It was obviously bought because my sisters were supposed to ride it, but somehow I think when that came in, the Sportive also came around that time. You remember the Sportive very well.
Yes, yes, very well. Yeah.
So somehow my older sister Vidya didn't end up riding either of those. My other sister Malvika, she preferred to ride the Sportive, so I was left with the Spark, the pink color Spark. So I did whatever I could to, make it look less pink for whatever reason. Painted the wheels black and all of that handlebar. Wherever there was chrome, I painted it black with that dull black paint we used to get in those days. But that apart, I think there was an event organized by Kinetic Spark, some kind of a motorsport event on somewhere on Hosur Road, once where Banagata Road goes and meets Hosur Road on the right side, the grounds there. And that was my first event. And I think there I saw Divakar also for the first time, our Divu.
Okay. Yeah.
And he had a souped up Luna. And I had a stock kinetic spark with the mud guards removed. Those days you remove the mud guard and you feel the bike is going faster. Anyway, so that was my first event. And then from then to rallying, it's a bit of a haze for me. I can't really remember what happened. But if you remember, Malu also got into rallying around that same time. But I had actually started off the two-wheeler rallying business in 1987. I participated with Vivek Boda as my navigator in the Scissors Action Rally. You remember that adventure?
Yeah, I think I'll bring him back. He's come. I hope to see him. But you continue your journey.
Yeah, so I remember it was end of second PUC, or I think it was just beginning of engineering. I don't remember the time in between where Boda and me decided to participate in Scissors Action Rally, which started off from Coimbatore with Prithvi Banwasi and Stephen Benny as our service.
Service team, yeah.
Yeah, and there's so many stories around that one event. But that is when it started off, and that's when I did a fair bit of rallying with Vivek, with Boda, and then I met a lot of friends through rallying, who became friends for life. Even now, they are very close friends of mine. wonderful guys, and we have had great times. There were so many stalwarts from those days. Subhash, Prakash Kadur, all Ashok, Ashok Rao. Was so many names, guys whom we used to look up to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So many.
Vivek,
Yeah, there he
you,
is.
do you have anything to say about the rallying part of Viku and you? Quickly, you can borrow network from India if you want. Frozen ice cream ತರ ಇದನ್ನೇ.
ಏನು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಬಿಡು.
Okay, ಬಿಡೋಣ.
Vivek,
Fine.
Vivek, if you can hear me, please transfer yourself to the IT department of things over there and get yourself a better network.
Okay, so coming to another totally different facet of you that I know of, especially in our college days, we used to do a lot of theater also. I mean, not exactly the specific theater. I remember all of us in our class put together Mind Your Language.
Correct.
Yeah,
Correct.
and I think you
Total disaster.
total disaster, but it was one of the most fun.
Yeah, it was great fun. It was absolutely fantastic. I cannot forget that one part. I think I don't know whether it was during a rehearsal or whether it was during the performance, where one of our co-actors, our classmates, actually took the script very literally, and he's supposed to pull out a gun, and he's supposed to do that, and in the script it was written click, and our man takes out the gun and says click because it's written in the script. Click is written in the script. So I remember that very clearly. I also remember that day that theater is not for me because I feel absolutely terrified without an instrument with me on stage. So that's I did taste theater, and I knew that you actually latched onto it, and I think it kind of bit you around that time.
Yeah.
The same time at which music bit me around that time, I think theater bit you then.
We'll talk about that on a Matka Chai when Prithvi Badwasi will be featured. So we'll have to create an onion scene for that. I'll talk about to myself. So yeah, coming to another thing, I have a snippet of things that I would like to take you through for memories. Take all our friends together. Let's just watch this.
is such a beautifully put together video. What a lovely template. Hats
Yep,
off.
yep.
Thank you to whoever's put that together. Amazing.
So I
Really.
will tell you. I will tell you. So the finer side, the way we are projected, the way we are branded, the way we are seen by the world, whether it's from a poster, the logo, the creatives here, or everything that the world sees, the finer side is thanks to Studio Vivarta, Karthik Rao, who is the brain behind this
Oh,
with his
yes.
team, Diti Hemant and many others who are involved. There are people who have been in Singapore, Coimbatore from their team in the pandemic who have contributed to a lot of work. And whether it's a website, whether it's our Insta, everything is run by them. The digital
Fantastic.
marketing
Fantastic.
completely.
They
So
are really good. I
wonderful.
mean, not
So
just
this
this one,
video also is from them. Yeah.
lovely. Lovely.
Thanks to Karthik and the team. Amazing work they do.
Kudos,
Yeah.
Karthik and team. Really.
So now we come to the most crucial part of what's happening today, and today you are here. There's a question from Raj Shekhar. Viku, we have all seen you, how amazing guitarist you are, and enjoyed all the time. Could you let us know how Octavium happened? So before that, some of the pictures that were there were about small home performances. I would like to tell all our listeners who are there, who are watching, who probably will watch later, the late 80s and the early 90s was a wonderful period
Yeah.
where even neighbors enjoyed music. The irritability level was much lesser.
We didn't have
People,
kids.
we didn't have kids.
Very important.
Anag, hope you're listening. We didn't have kids, but yes, we used to jam together as an unplugged session, and we have had so many people who have come and gone by. So
Yes.
many people, the artists, theater people.
Yeah.
No, I remember Kirti Banu. I
Oh,
remember,
yeah.
yeah,
Kirti was the one who would start off our sessions with his songs.
Paki Paki Paradesi,
Yeah.
if I never forget that. And there's so many things, not just him, whether it was a Puneet Rajkumar, whether it was, people who not never sang, but came and were part of that. And, it was
True.
a good, it's so difficult to do that now because now
Yeah.
you have Spotify, you play music, everything is, fairly different. But I do see that it's coming back. A lot of youngsters today love unplugged, love that kind of music, and they would like to be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So before you say how Octavium started, how Octavium happened, just a few thoughts about how untiringly you used to perform for the gun I used to hold on your head and not let you put the guitar down.
No, I think to a large extent, the confidence that I had, in getting into starting off Octavian, which I'll come to in a bit, was I can say it's thanks to you keeping me involved with playing the guitar. Otherwise, if not for those sessions at your home, I wouldn't play the guitar, Prithvi, honestly. You can ask Chiki. I just wouldn't. I didn't have any desire to play the guitar at home. It was, I can't explain why, but those sessions which we used to have at your place, and there would be sometimes a few months in between those sessions. In between those sessions, I would simply not touch the guitar, not touch it. I'm not even saying play it. I wouldn't even touch it. It would be removed, dusted, brought to your place with an extra set of strings, and many times you would remember I would sit and string it before
Yeah, yeah.
the party at your place. And at the end of the session at your place, my fingers would be blistering. But through those hours of playing and all the people that you mentioned, the variety of people from celebrities to regular friends to family members to, I mean, so many, so many. I think the key factor there was everybody was involved in what was happening there. And it was not that I would come with a pre-prepared set of songs and I look at my list and say, I'm going to play this, I'm going to play this, I'm going to play this. No. Sometimes the mood would define what song would be played, and sometimes we would define the mood depending on where we want to take it. You and I always had this kind of side conversation going where you'd say, Barso, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
and depending on who's involved, who's not getting involved, and you would never allow side conversations to happen. Mobile
yeah,
phones were not a thing in those days. Nobody was distracted by their mobile phones. Everybody was there, and everybody was there. If you know what I mean, they were there in that moment. So I think that's made it really, really special. And many times we would go through a 3 hour session, 3.5 hour session. My fingers would be ready to fall off, but I wouldn't even know it because we were so caught up in the music. And throats would be gone. We'd be singing out of tune. We would have forgotten lyrics. Of course, quite a few pegs would have gone down by then, so everybody would be in a happy mood.
yeah,
But the thing was, at the end of it all, everybody felt uh, happy.
yeah,
Everybody felt kind of a little bit of a release from what they were doing in life. Everybody felt good about each other. There were no brawls or no fights or nothing. Nothing. It was just about music. And I'm sure it's happened in many households
yeah,
across our country.
yeah, yeah,
It's not, but in those times, music, this sort of impromptu, spontaneous music was really, really special. And at the same time, it wasn't. If you know what I mean, because that was which we would you do regularly and look forward to getting. It was not something really special, but if it's happening, everybody would come there, and it became one event for all those who were there. So that was that. Those are great memories I have, and some of the pictures I think in that video were from some
yeah,
of those occasions. And we
yeah,
had so many people just come in. Some days we'll go all ghazal. There'll be a Ram Nagraj was there. I remember once. We got his harmonium and we went on a ghazal trip. And one day we went on a rock and roll trip. And one day it was all Kishore Kumar. The other day it's all Mohammed Rafi. So it was just amazing. It was great. And like you said, it is special because it happened at that time. It should stay at that time. Rakshit is
yeah.
saying, correct, Mary Bigi Bigi C and yeah, man. Those are some of the standards which
Yeah,
would be played.
yeah.
There
So
would invariably be one or two guys who would be heartbroken or going through love sickness. Those requests would come up invariably, and we would play them. Yeah, so yeah, we were all in our 20s then. So yes, that was part of it. Now
so where is your goatee?
it's
Is it
hidden. Nothing.
it's hidden.
Yeah, it's incognito right now. It's hiding under the coat.
So you have a question, very serious question by Mr. Anand Rao. I think where is he? Australia, India,
Anand Rao. Anand, great to see you, man. Fantastic. Anand is in Mangalore. Uh,
Bangalore. Okay.
what is the secret of your super addictive, ever positive attitude in life? I'm glad you think that I have an ever positive attitude in life. Uh, I don't think that I can honestly say that I'm always positive. I think like all of us, every single one of us, there's nobody who can stand up and say that I get up in the morning, I'm positive till late. We all have our down moments. Uh, but some of us don't have a choice of allowing the down moments to kind of overtake and take control of our psyche or our just state of being. So that's when it just makes sense to be positive. I guess just trying to rationalize it. I don't have an answer for it, but yeah, and guys like Prithvi, myself, we always. I don't think we ever planned our lives. We said, okay, we finish college, we do this, we do this, we do this. No, we just kind of went with the flow. We kind of adjusted with the flow. Sometimes we make the flow adjust to us. More downs than ups in our lives. Then comes a question of what are those ups? How do we quantify ups? Do we consider ourselves successful? No, it's just too many questions, man. Sometimes you just stop asking questions and you just go and just try and surrender to what is around you. Because
Saku,
ultimately,
saku.
yeah.
Philosophical beda now chillagirana. So I just want to take a pause.
Philosophical question.
Yeah.
ಕೇಳಿದ್ರೆ.
Good to good. So I'll just pause here to just add two things. This program is brought to you by our wellness partner Madhur Pharma and Research Laboratories. Uh, we this From this week we started a contest. I asked a question, as to where were those checks shirt bought. And we have a winner. We have somebody who also said Mega Mart. No Mega Mart, boss. Warehouse. Rakshit Hangal, you win the prize. It was warehouse. You will get a hamper. You will get a hamper from wellness partners Madhur Pharma and Research Laboratories. Enjoy
The
it.
warehouse.
And yeah, I'm also going to just bring in one. You can continue talking.
Okay. Um, I think Raj asked the question about how Octavium happened. I
In the
just
final.
uh, can I?
1 minute.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
get.
yeah.
Okay, quickly about how Octavium started. I think I did mention sometime back when we were talking about RB College. I did mention about Deepak Keshwan, one of my close music buddies. We were in engineering together, very close to me at that time. And of course, after engineering, we drifted apart. He went in one music direction, I went in another. But we were in touch on and off. Uh, and then I think somewhere around 2010 or 2011, I came to know that he passed away. And
Yeah.
if you remember, we went for his funeral, and there at the crematorium, a whole lot of memories flooded in my mind uh, of the wonderful musical times that we had spent together. And Deepak had exposed me to a whole lot of music which otherwise I wouldn't have heard. A wide range of music from Jagjit Singh to a whole bunch of Western and international artists. And he always had this great collection. But uh, that was when that was the first trigger. The second trigger was when his bandmates. He was the founder and the drummer of a band called Ministry of Blues, a very good
Yeah.
blues act.
We know Matthew, if I'm
Vinny
not wrong.
Matthew and Thomas
Yeah.
Hayden, yes, they
Yeah.
were brilliant. And they actually organized a tribute gig, and they rounded up all the folks who had played with DK during his playing days, and it was at Counterculture. So I got the opportunity and the privilege of sharing stage with guys like Jaggi. Uh,
Yeah.
it's Jagdish Ramanujan is the director of Bangalore School of Music. Bruce Lee Mani, Rajiv Rajgopal of Kamlada Quarter. Both these guys, these stalwarts. Uh, uh, Other members like Paul, myself, Lloyd, we all got on stage, and I actually had not been playing music during that time. So just for that gig, I practiced and I picked up my guitar, and it was on stage when when we were playing one of the songs which we used to play with DK. Then I was thinking, what am I doing with my life? I mean, I started questioning what I was doing, and more than questioning what I was doing, I was questioning why I'm not doing something with music, because
Yeah.
that is what was my calling, I guess. So that's when that journey started. Then you remember, Prithvi, you, me, and a few of the guys tried to set something up, and it didn't work out. We went through a lot of turmoil during that time. And then I went hell for leather, and I said, okay, to hell with it. I'm just going to jump. I don't know whether I don't even have a parachute. To forget about whether it's going to open or not. I just jumped. And then one thing led to another, and Octavium came to life, I think, in the same day, same week that Roots Academy came to
Roots
life
Academy. Yep, yep, yep.
on Kanakpura Road.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's how Octavium happened, Raj, to cut a long story short. It was
So
an
Nadeem,
incredible challenge.
Nadeem has a very important question. Just before I come to that, I'm going to just play a video of the final side.
ನನಗಿವತ್ತು ತುಂಬ ಖುಷಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ಆಡಿಟೋರಿಯಂ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಬಹಳ ಒಂದು ಖುಷಿ ಕೊಡೋ ವಿಷಯ.
Wonderful to see this venue come alive. The sound was great, acoustics were great. Thanks a lot to the Finer Side.
I mean, what can I say about this place? It's such an inspiration for all artists like me, and I feel like coming and again and performing here.
Great place, great vibe, great people. ಈ ಜಾಗ ಈ ತರ ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ದೊಡ್ಡದಾಗಿ ಬೆಳಲಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಆಶಿಸ್ತೀನಿ.
ಬಹಳ ದಿನಗಳಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಜಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಆ ಜಾಗದ ಹೆಸರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ, ದಿ ಫೈನರ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ. ತುಂಬಾ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಜಾಗನ ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
This beautiful auditorium, it's very inspiring to see how it has been designed for the sake of arts. So it's always nice to be here at the Finer Side.
Akhilesh.
Yeah, Akhilesh is there.
Wow, what a huge part of my life you've been, man. Great to see
ಎಲ್ಲ
you.
ಬಿಸಿ ಬಾಯ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಲೇಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಎಂಟ್ರಿ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನೇನು ಕ್ಲೋಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ 9 minutes ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nadeem's question is there. Viku, you can read it.
I can read it. I'll just read it out. What is your opinion on the new generation, which are instant gratification generation, rushing to make it big using the platforms? Just wanted to pick your brains on it, while people like you and Mr. Sontake have given years to be where you guys are. A great question, Nadeem. Sometimes I wonder whether we should be actually asking this question. I mean, in our time, we didn't have a choice. Probably if we had a choice, if we had all the tools that the kids have today, if we had all the platforms and avenues that are available today, we would have probably done the same. So can we really answer that question? Honestly, I don't know. If I had a Pro Tools or Logic, and if I had a sound card and I had a digital setup and I had the option of chopping and punching in every time I'm recording, or even have the ability to sit at home and record in those days, I'm sure you and I would have grabbed it, right? So I think now the focus is not so much on how you've reached where you've reached, but where you are right now. How good are you at what you're doing right now, irrespective of what path you've taken to get there. And you might know, Nadeem, I think in our time to get a show was as difficult as it is today. Getting a live show is very difficult today. There may be more venues, but there are that many more bands. In those days, there were lesser venues, but there were lesser bands. So that supply-demand equation has always been skewed in the favor of the venues. Now, that if you look at it today, kids have got so many platforms, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Facebook, whatever. If they are able to put a piece of music together and put it out and tell the world, hey, this is what I'm playing, it's great. They're getting an audience. We had to struggle to get an audience. They are probably getting an audience without that much struggle. Quality of the audience, quantity of the audience, there are so many factors that go into that. So it's not easy for them too, mind you. It's not easy. If just because a person has put together a great production, whether it's the quality of the music, quality of performance, quality of production, quality of video, if it's out there on a particular platform, that doesn't qualify, that doesn't guarantee you a big audience. There are a whole lot of other factors. And kids have that problem today. I don't want to use the word kids. I'm just using kids in a just to, especially because Prithvi is here, he hates the use of the word kids. I know that. So I'll say
it's a young one. It's a young one of a goat.
Young ones. My apologies. Kids are little ones of goats. So the young people today have a struggle. It's not easy on them. I know so many young ones, because we run a music academy. There are so many wonderfully talented children. They've got so much talent, and they're able to play. They put a lot of effort into actually putting something together, recording it on, even whether it's on your phone, it's on a phone, and they put it out, and then they're seeing, oh, I'm not getting as many views as I thought I would. I'm not getting as many likes that I thought I would. I'm not getting as many comments that I thought I would. Now, these are all problems which we didn't have. You know, we played in a pub. We had 30 people clinking their glasses and clapping. We were sorted. Whether we got paid or not is a completely different question. It's a different discussion. Another time, another matka chai. But that in that moment, we had our audience. We played. We were happy. We dusted our hands and we moved on to the next show whenever it happened. Here, it's not like that. Instant gratification is a problem. I agree with you. They are used to instant gratification. That is the flip side of what the current, I would say, scene is in terms of platforms available to people, and it will sort itself out. A lot of youngsters, a lot of aspiring musicians will go through that grind, will go through that struggle, and like in any other profession, a few will succeed. It's like saying, you know, I want to get into the automobile industry and I want to be an F1 driver and I want to finish on pole one after every qualifying. Now, if everybody wants to be an F1 driver, who's going to be a service engineer? Who's going to be a designer? Who's going to be a production guy? Who's going to be a service guy? You know, so it's like that. So all this will sort itself out. We are going through a transformation from a purely offline world to a largely online world, and that we are witnessing that transformation. So I'm not saying it's good or bad. To answer your question again, they have their struggles. Let's not kind of think that it's easy for them.
So we almost at the end of the show, because there is a time limit of 1 hour that we want to maintain to. You have a very old friend of yours from all the way from Kochi.
Carol! Wow! Oh my goodness.
So love from her and all your schoolmates, Kochi.
Oh my goodness. Carol.
Love from all of us here and all the viewers and listeners. And I'm sure we will have many more who will be logging in and watching the interview sometime later. Thanks, Viku, for joining us. Thanks, Mr. Kedar Nayak.
Thank
if I have
you
to be very
so
formal.
much for having me. I hope I didn't over speak.
No. If I ask a question to my friends who are on the chat, they'll say, "Can we do it for another hour?" So I'm aware of that. They're enjoying your conversation. They're enjoying what we are doing. So thank you so much. Look forward to having more shows. Look forward to having Octavium as part of the final side. We're just waiting for the pandemic to vanish.
When I was thinking, then I saw that video. When are we going to start? So,
yeah. And we wish the Octavium classes resume. I'm sure the online is going on, but we wish it starts soon, so that many more artists are part of it. We have a wonderful stage, 350 people seater. So please use it. Make sure that people come. To all the listeners, if in case you want to have a performance, from August we are planning to resume live shows, provided Mr. Yediyurappa says 8 o'clock lockdown illa continue ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. Provided this third wave which is threatening us is not going to come. Provided we are happy. So thanks Viku. Thanks to all the people who have been part of this, all the way from US. I see Arshad all the way from Dubai. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Wow. That is so overwhelming. Thank you, guys, and stay safe. Wish you all good health. Thank you, Prithvi. Thank you so much.
Yep.